This is your sign to make some tea or coffee if that's your vibe. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of this makeshift movie, which is really just my excuse to rant about the capitalist nonsense that is Valentine's Day and the very much needed celebration that is Galentines. Single bitter chick? Who is she? The day of patron Saint Valentine, a celebration of what once supposedly honoured the secret marrying of couples at a time when a very bitter emperor decreed that men should stay single as they made for better soldiers. Modern day society is screaming. What began as a small exchange of affection through notes and letters has slowly, yet freakishly quickly, transformed into what I can only describe as a unicorn pooping displays of affection instead of glitter. A day for many a singleton, and dare I say many a couple, to feel anything but good about themselves for not being in love or not going all out in celebrating that love. A day that exists to validate every couple that being together is enough to celebrate. Apparently we've never heard of anniversaries or even birthdays. In a world where media conditions us to yearn for that true great love, from High School Musical, Ross and Rachel, McDreamy, McSteamy, Chuck Bass, Hermione and Ron, Luke and Lorelai, Harry and Sally, Ali and Noah, Karthik and Jesse, Lara Jean and Peter, and the list goes on. We tell ourselves that we too will one day find that story for ourselves, or so we hope. Of course it's your prerogative to celebrate Valentine's Day as you wish. I'm really not bitter, I swear. This message isn't about Valentine's Day being wrong to celebrate, but that it's a chance for us to tap into ourselves and celebrate other relationships, crucial relationships that often don't have enough time in the limelight. Relationships with your friends, and most importantly, your relationship with yourself. As someone who cherishes her friends as some of the most important people in her life, and has never been in a relationship, might I add, I've been asking this question for years. Why is there no day to celebrate friendship? Yes, we have a so-called Friendship Day on the 30th of July apparently, but why has it only ever recently been normalized to celebrate Galentines or Palentines? Wait, do guys call each other pals? I can imagine it being called cringy or lame if friends decided to do this 10 years ago or so. Boy, am I glad that's changed. My best friend and I celebrated our first Galentines together a couple of years ago when we went to the cinema to watch 50 Shades Freed. Yes, I am that bitch. I remember Jamie Dornan once said in an interview that he can tell if someone is a fan from watching 50 Shades or The Fall just by how they look at him, and after watching and loving both, I totally get where he's coming from. How do you react when you see someone who plays both sex god and murderous stalker so well? Anyways, it was such a fun night filled with laughter and taking the piss. I love spoiling my friends in general, so Galentine's Day was such a fun thing to do. Movie nights, dinners, nights out, at-home spa sessions. There are so many ideas I've seen on YouTube and TikTok. Most recently, I've been seeing best friends swap their favourite items from supermarkets as gifts to one another. And yes, I'm fully aware that sounds so boring, but I promise you it's not. I know you don't need me to tell you this, but friendship is one of the most rare and beautiful things to come by. If you find true friends, best friends, or even soulmates in them, then I think it's safe to say you've hit the jackpot. Whenever there's an issue, who do you turn to? Your friends. When you're in the mood for literally doing anything random, who do you text? Your friends. If you need looking after once you've had a few too many to drink, who's going to nurse you back to health? Your friends. Who's going to tell you you're beautiful when the world makes you believe you're not? Your friends. And if you're lucky enough, your best friend may even add a few tears when telling you that for that extra oomph. I'm sure she's dying listening to this. And finally, who do you think of when you think of your craziest, most memorable memories? Probably your friends. I can't say this for everyone, but I'm so lucky to say that I have so many people in my life I'm my truest self around, and my friends are definitely on that list. I can raise my voice to the rooftops in an intense game of articulate, take the piss on levels that are definitely not allowed, and for some reason, we all still choose to stick around. Not every single friendship is one that will serve you for life, and that's not to say that those friendships are not extremely valuable. It just goes to show that we don't know what will happen in the future, so it's best to make the most of and celebrate your friendships while you have them. What better time to talk about caring for and loving ourselves than when I dress up, one of my pick-me-ups. With lockdown coming to almost a year on and off, like a really bad relationship that you constantly hope will get better, even though you know precisely that it's going to get worse as you go on. It's safe to say we've seen at least 5 infographics on Instagram telling us how to better our mental health in such, say it with me folks, unprecedented times. Who knew that going for a walk was the cure to all of our mental health issues? I kid, of course, we all know they come with the best intentions. Going through such difficult times over the past year, having me time has never been more important, even though me time seems like all the time being at home 24/7. That walk that varies from 10 minutes to an hour depending on my mood, that random face mask I decided to finally use, reading more, binging Netflix more, subscribing to over 100 new YouTube channels, seeing everyone channel their inner grannies with all the amazing crocheting, embroidering and knitting, hobbies have increased tenfold. Looking after ourselves by doing what we know we love has never been more important, especially around Valentines. Do we ever stop to think whether we make enough time to do the things that promote self-love and self-care? We're always so stressed, making sure we've done enough to dote our love and affection over others, when in reality, the person we should be looking out for and spoiling most is the one we all too often neglect. It isn't easy at all being single in a period of time where unicorns are pooping their displays of affection wherever you go, especially if you're someone like me who picks the rom-com genre or chocolate option for everything. It's weird. Back in school, hearing the girls in relationships talk about how they celebrated Valentine's Day and what they'd gotten felt so distant that I didn't care that I was single. I felt so young to even want that for myself. Now, I don't know whether it's due to the ever-growing capitalist machine that has made Valentine's Day travel across the sea from the US over to the UK to become more prevalent than ever, or whether it's my undeniable aging and transitioning to my almost mid-20s that makes me constantly feel reminded that I'm single. I think a lot of single people can relate to this, that whether we feel good or bad about being single, we're made to feel bad by society for being so, as though it's something within our control or that we all desperately crave. The idea of Valentine's being such a big production makes it seem as though couples are cheered for just being in a relationship, no matter how healthy, and the singletons left behind to be pitied. You know what I say? Screw that. Before any man comes into my life, I need to love myself more than anyone else will. It's so much easier loving someone else than yourself anyways. For those that are in relationships, is it not equally important to show love for yourself as you do your partner? We always hear these quotes telling us people in relationships are two light bulbs shining equally brightly. But when has society ever acknowledged a time in the year for that to be the case? For the idea of self-love to be made valid? Take this as your reminder to go order that takeaway, KFC vegan burger and chocolate chip cookies if you're like me. Put that makeup on, hang out with your girls, virtually until further notice, spoil your best friends, make your favorite meal, bake something, read that book, watch that film, take that bath and fucking spoil yourself. Host that movie night, games night, dinner party, sleepover, put on that dress, put on those joggers if you very validly choose comfort over anything, and do something that shows that in a world where we're constantly reminded to love and celebrate others, to fucking love yourself and prove it. How did I spend my Valentine's Day, you ask? Well, for the first time I'd spent it alone instead of with my friends, and it's the most fun I've ever had. I slept in, watched the final To All the Boys movie for what I think was probably the 4th time, baked and iced a red velvet cake in the ever so trendy minimalist style, ate a fair few pieces, got dressed, and hosted my first ever Galentines movie night with the girls, single or not. We watched Sex and the City, had many a debate about Steve's infidelity, and it was the best Valentine's Day I've ever had. I cannot wait for next year when we can finally do something in person together. It seems like such a distant reality.